Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. 2024 was full of so many ups and downs for my small business. In some aspects, it was the best year for me. In other aspects, it was the worst year for me. Today, we're going to talk about everything from my biggest milestones to my biggest challenges, lessons I've learned this year, the revenue I made, and just a lot more insight and behind the scenes of how I accomplished everything this year. This video is sponsored by Shopify, but more on them later. If you don't know me, my name's Tammy. I started my small business called Uncomfy Co. back in 2020, selling my handmade polymer clay goods. And now that it's already December, I thought this would be the perfect time to do a recap of my small business this year. So here is me at the beginning of 2024. I had just turned 23 years old, and at this point, I had the most amount of energy I've ever had in my life. My shop was open 24/7, and I was making everything handmade to order. That means every week, on top of my YouTube videos, on top of other obligations, I was still sculpting orders, packing them and shipping them mostly by myself every week. I would say I had pretty unrealistic expectations of myself. In fact, my New Year's resolution was to do as much as I could without taking any breaks. That was the gist of my goal, and I truly thought I could make it work. I was riding off 3 years of momentum. I had graduated from college. I moved into my own one-bedroom apartment with my boyfriend. I didn't have any other roommates anymore. I was like, this is gonna be my year, which this has been such a great year, but not in the way that I expected. Because by the time the end of February had rolled around, I was so burnt out. I was crying every night. I felt like a failure. I felt shame. I felt like I was a phony. And that was because I was doing it all by myself, making hundreds of pieces by myself, glazing them by myself, shipping them by myself. I closed my shop at the end of February, and it did not open again until May. So for 3 whole months, I was not making any income from my shop anymore. But during that time, I was still sculpting because I was so far behind on all of my orders. So from March to April, I finally finished sculpting all of my orders, and then I just ended up taking a break. I couldn't even look at clay. I was just so pitifully drained, and it was all my doing. So after I got all of those orders out and I finally could take a proper break from sculpting, I really took a step back and looked at my business model, which was handmade goods made to order, and I was like, this is not sustainable. And while I was taking that break, I'm so grateful for you guys, because you were so patient with me while I figured all of this out, and you guys were still commenting, supporting me, watching my videos. Like, that is how I was able to even make an income still. Even though my shop was closed, I could still make an income from YouTube AdSense and brand deals, and I'm just so fortunate that I was able to take that break, and I'm so thankful for you guys. So nonetheless, I think I really needed that time to recuperate, because after that break, I came back better, smarter, and stronger. So now we're at the end of May, and I come out with my first limited drop ever. So instead of making everything to order, I switched to doing limited drops. I would cap my orders off at like 140 or 150, make some of them or most of them prior to the drops, so that I could actually get orders out within a week, instead of my customers having to wait 5 weeks. I was actually super scared to do the limited drops because I felt like I had been gone for so long and no one's gonna even want these anymore. I also had to increase prices a bit, and I was just really nervous. But thankfully, this drop sold out so quickly, like all within a day. This really gave me the affirmation that this is what will work for me. Now I can do a limited drop every couple of months, be able to sustain myself and not get burnt out within just 2 months of the year. That was just crazy to me. So in July, I did another drop, and this one was my personal best drop that I've ever had in the entirety of my business. Not only was it polymer clay goods, but it was my first small batch of ceramics, and it was my first time dropping plushie pre-orders. That break from a couple months ago really did me wonders, because it gave me the time to actually start working on a project that has been 4 years in the making. My first pre-order round of these was 500 plushies, and we sold out of them in less than 12 hours. So yeah, this was just such a good drop. It was like seeing the tiniest glimpse of what I really want the future of Uncomfy to be. I want to provide something for everybody. You know, if you can't get your hands on a handmade piece, you can get some cute stickers or pins or notepads, or you can get your hands on a plushie. Looking back on that now, that was a really, really great moment for my small business. So like I said, in July, we launched this plushie, and then in August, we finally received all of the units and we shipped them all out. So that was another first as well. I had never shipped out that many items at the same time ever before. With the revenue we got from the first pre-order in September, I released the second round of pre-orders. So instead of 500, I listed 1,000. Well, technically I listed 950 just so I could have 50 extra in case there were some defective ones, which there were. So thank goodness I saved those extra ones. And let's just speed through the last quarter of the year. In October, I dropped my fall collection of clay items. This was the last drop of the year where I made over 200 handmade pieces. In November, we finally received all 1,000 units of the plushies. So we just shipped those guys out and now we're here. My shop is basically closed for the season. I'm taking another break from sculpting. I'm plotting, I'm planning, I'm designing 2 new projects for next year already. And I just can't believe that this year is already coming to a close. Hello friends, Editing Tammy here. From this point onwards, you're gonna be seeing a lot more of me. I just wanted to give a little more insight to what went all into this year. So in 2024, I posted 40 long form YouTube videos, 28 YouTube shorts, 65 Instagram reels, and 48 TikToks. So that means over the course of this year so far, because it's not quite the end of the month, I've posted 181 videos. I'm not saying that that's a lot or a little, but that's just how much I personally posted to grow from around 100,000 subscribers on YouTube to now 480,000 subscribers. I also have 260,000 followers on Instagram now, and those are just big milestones that I'm really proud of, considering that I didn't even post every day. I just focused on posting once a week on YouTube and once a week on Instagram, and it didn't even always work out. Sometimes I had to take breaks, but yeah. Overall, the biggest milestone of this year was that this community grew so much. I'm so thrilled and so grateful that my art could reach you guys and inspire you guys in so many ways. I've gotten so many messages of people saying that, you know, they just started their small businesses too, whether they're students or stay-at-home moms or just people who have wanted to do art for their entire lives, but this year they finally did it because they watched my videos. And I'm like tearing up thinking about it, because that is like the biggest achievement that I could ever possibly achieve, is that the things I put out in the world provide comfort to someone. It just means the world to me. I never thought that I could be that person for someone else, you know, someone that makes their day better. And yeah, this whole video is just a long-winded way of me saying thank you so much. Seeing you guys go after your dreams, seeing Maxine in your homes, it's just the coolest thing when your art becomes something that's bigger than you. It becomes something that a whole community shares in general. And speaking of the Uncomfy community, it's thanks to you guys and thanks to your support that I was able to work with some of my dream brands this year, one of which is Shopify, who is the sponsor of this video. I'm so excited that I'm working with Shopify because I've been using them for my small business for the past 2 or 3 years. I talk about them in almost every one of my small business videos. This is like my dream partnership. If you don't know what Shopify is, they are a commerce platform that allows you to start, grow, and manage a business. Most of my small business friends use it, and there are a ton of other amazing brands that I admire so much who are powered by Shopify. And believe me when I say Shopify just makes everything so much easier. They have a simple drag and drop store editor, easy to use marketing tools. You can even purchase shipping labels directly from Shopify as well. My favorite feature is their live view, so you can see exactly what your customers are doing, what location they're in, how they're interacting with your store. So whenever I do a shop drop, I can see all of you guys on my site, and it's just so honestly gratifying seeing all of those dots on the map after working on a collection for so long. Millions of people across 170 countries use Shopify every day to power their business. So if you're starting or running a business this upcoming new year, I highly suggest Shopify. And if you scan this QR code here or go to shopify.com/uncomfy, you can get a free trial. So now that we got all the personal achievements out of the way, let's talk money. I gathered all of my information from Shopify, which has such great analytics. So in the first quarter, from January to March, I made $20,000. So that was all just handmade items in the first quarter. And then like I said, I took a huge break. So in April through June, I only made a little more than $7,000. Not great. Third quarter, so this includes both rounds of the plushie pre-orders, plus all the other handmade goods and ceramics. I made $68,000. And in the fourth quarter, I just had that one last clay drop. It was $14,000. So my gross income for the year from Shopify was $110,000. All of my expenses within Shopify, so the subscription, the shipping fees, and transaction fees added up to $16,400. And then all of my other expenses outside of Shopify, so this is like my supplies, my camera gear, my Adobe subscriptions, my PO box, all the shipping labels I bought outside of Shopify, that added up to $50,000. So my actual net income from my art shop was $60,000. So $60,000 net income may seem a little underwhelming, honestly, for a lot of you, especially if you're working a high earning 9-to-5 job. Thankfully, the income from my shop itself isn't my only source of income. I also earn income from my YouTube AdSense, my Amazon affiliate links. My sponsorships are a huge chunk of my income as well. I also wanted to do some business math for you guys to put this into perspective. So if my gross revenue is $110,000 and my expenses are around $50,000, that means my net profit margin is 54%. You do $60,000 divided by $110,000, and yeah, so a 54.5% profit margin is actually pretty decent, especially for a small business. Most small businesses aim for a profit margin of 20 to 30% just to stay operational. My goal for my small business isn't necessarily to pay myself, it's to have enough money to reinvest into the business and to keep it going. So that's why you keep hearing about businesses that make millions, if not billions of dollars every year, but they are not making actual profit. It's because they're reinvesting everything back into their business to scale it up. And that's sort of what I started doing this year with my manufactured products. With my last drop of plushies, I spent around $8,000 just to manufacture them, not to even ship them here, not to even ship them out to you guys. But because I spent that much money, I was able to scale up my business and send it out to 1,500 people instead of just 100 people like if I did handmade items. So now with my 50% profit margin, I'm able to invest that money into my new plushie line. So I'm gonna be restocking Tangerine Maxine. I'm making Strawberry Maxine. They're both gonna have a new design with a heat pack feature. I'm also working on coloring books, a new merch line. I'm also working with local artists to help build up their careers as well. Like $60,000 net profit isn't much, but it's actually so much. It's gonna be able to get my business so much more potential, which is really exciting. By far, the hardest challenge I had to face in 2024 was work-life balance. I just found it so hard to manage everything, and that shows by how many times I got burnt out and had to take long, extended breaks from my business. And you know, I do have to give myself grace because at my core, I am an artist, I'm a creative, and I was just forcing myself to be creative all of the time. So naturally, I got burnt out. For a lot of the year as well, I was just overextending myself in every way imaginable, you know, hand making everything, but also taking on every opportunity that came left and right because I think I do struggle with scarcity mindset, and this career is pretty volatile. Businesses fail all the time. So in the back of my head, I was like, this good luck is not gonna last forever. I have to work so hard. I have to work every single day, and it caused me to bail on friends, bail on family, not be there for my partner, you know, and neglect my health. I got really sick like twice this year, actually, right before each big drop I had. I got sick, so I couldn't make reels or advertise in the way that I truly wanted to, and my business suffered. Everything that caused my business to decline was because I wasn't taking care of myself. And I tell you guys this all the time. I'm like, take care of yourself, journal, get sleep, eat well. And honestly, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I was a big fat hypocrite. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was staying up all night to fulfill these orders, and I'm gonna be stern moving on next year. I'm not gonna be doing that Hopefully. I am a big proponent of working hard when you need to, drink when there's water present. I'm taking steps now. Oh gosh, there's like a car that went by and it like totally blinded me. Anyway, so yeah, take this as my biggest advice if you want to be an entrepreneur. Work-life balance is going to be something that you are going to struggle with for years and years because girl, I've been doing this since 2020. You would think that I know better by now. Also, my brain isn't actually even fully developed yet. So maybe in 2 years I'll have things figured out. Watching all of this back now, I think what I was really trying to say is that this year I had to really confront my scarcity mindset. And this sort of scarcity mindset is something that I've inherited from my parents, who've inherited that mindset from their parents, and it's just this whole thing that I've been learning about myself, especially as a child of immigrants, is that I never feel like I'm good enough and that I have to take care of everybody. And those are all things that I'm actively working on right now as we speak, especially when it comes to money. I think I was overworking myself so much and I was so stressed out that I couldn't make good decisions for the long run, for the longevity of my business. So I was just focused on making money now instead of what can I do to make money in the future? Instead of working myself to the bone, getting arthritis in my wrist, making everything by hand, this year I decided to focus my energy on long-term projects, things that will take much longer to make, things that require a lot more upfront costs. But after I do all of this hard work now, I'll be able to expand my business and make these plushies and product lines that will last much, much longer. If you are also struggling with scarcity mindset, I would highly suggest, sitting down with yourself and confronting truly the things that are holding you back and what you want your career to look like in the next 10 years. For me, in the next 10 years, I still want to be making art, and I know for a fact that if I continued to work the way that I was working in January, I wouldn't even have survived until now. I wouldn't be able to make art in the next year. I would have been so burnt out, I would have quit. There's so many times this year where I was like, what if I never do this again? What if I just drop Uncomfy? And that's a scary thought because I've put so much work into this and I never want that to happen to you guys. So learn from my mistakes. Work hard, but also work smart and take care of yourself. You may notice that my list of hardships was relatively short because I truly think that the good outweighs the bad, and I don't want to complain too much. Like, realistically, yes, work-life balance was hard. It was very stressful, but now overall, I have a really peaceful life. Of course, this plushie was a huge milestone for my business. Like I said, this was 4 years in the making because it took me 4 years to gain enough confidence to even pursue this project. All the skills I've learned over the years, all of the research, all the product design knowledge that I've acquired helped me make this turn into reality. But I really honestly thought that this might be too challenging, too hard, too time consuming, too expensive compared to handmade items, which is all I've been doing. Manufactured items cost a lot of money up front. I'm just so proud of myself that I took the chance on this project, and I'm so glad that you guys love her as much as I do. If you didn't know this, Maxine was actually my dad's old goldfish. To me, Maxine represents almost like all of the hard work that my dad put into making a life here. He was a refugee from the Vietnam War. He tells me all of these horrendous stories. I support my family financially now, but it's my parents who gave me everything that I needed to do this as a career now, to make cute things for you guys and to make videos and provide comfort. This is just all so crazy to me, and I just feel so lucky. Everything from making the concept to finding a manufacturer to receiving samples to all of the decisions in between. I learned so much from this. My favorite moment was definitely, my parents driving from Houston to Denver to help me ship out all of my orders. It was so crazy, like especially this last time with 1,000 plushies. It was like a whole 2-day operation. My parents figured out their own system to help me get orders out as fast as we could. My dad was a machine, my mom was a machine. It was just so wholesome having everyone together under one roof again, and it was because they wanted to help me with my business. My key takeaways from this year is that you cannot do everything by yourself. Ask for help from your friends and your family, and if you can't do that, Outsource things like stickers. Like, don't get a Cricut, it's too much work. Use websites like Sticker App, you know, pay them $100 to make you 100 stickers. I think that's a much smarter use of your time. Time management is key. Another key takeaway from this year was just how important it is to diversify your income, because let's say you're an artist and you get burnt out, you'll still have other sources of income to help you float during those hard times. For me, my other source of income that was crucial was YouTube. Long form content is what got me through this year. It's where my community is. It's where I garner the most sponsorships, and it really helped ease my anxiety when I was taking those breaks from sculpting, because I still felt like I was helping people and I was still able to make a living. So if I were to start a creative journey this year, I would most certainly recommend to have a YouTube channel and do social media and all of that. I know the world is pretty scary right now, but I truly think choosing to start my own business changed my life so much for the better. I started in my parents' guest room. It was like 100 square feet where I started my business, and now I'm living with 1,200 square feet. I hope this video encourages you guys and shows you just how much you can accomplish in a year, and also just how much you can accomplish in 4 years. I'm able to financially care for my parents now. I'm able to live in my dream apartment, and thank you to you guys for all of your support. None of this would be possible without you guys. Whether you've purchased from my store or just watched a video, I'm so excited to make more accessible art for you, to make more products and expand my business. And yeah, I'm so excited for this new year to come. Here's to dreaming big, working hard, and seeing what we can accomplish in 2025. What are your goals for this upcoming year? Let me know in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Rusty red on her shoulder, I was cleaning her shoe when it clicked on the trot over in the bright morning dew. We brushed and we braided dandelions and